Hello, DC fans! Today is going to be my breakdown and review of Creature Commandos Episode 4, and we're going to see that the DCU gets a lot bigger because there are so many cool Easter eggs and cameos in this episode. So, lots to discuss. There will obviously be spoilers, but as long as you're okay with that, then let's dive right in and see what we can find out. Don't forget, we have a December contest running all month long. Be a subscriber, leave a comment, and you could win a book or a steelbook. Best of luck. And we have a membership option with lots of cool perks, so you might check it out in case you're interested. All right, so we're going to start by looking at some of the timeline clues in the episode. We get this reference to Amanda Waller being caught using human beings as cannon fodder. That's obviously a reference back to the Suicide Squad. We also see that Economos is on crutches, and when he's asked what happened to your leg, he says, well, I was fighting off an alien invasion. That's obviously a reference back to Peacemaker Season 1, when Economos tripped over the fence and broke his leg. And in fact, we even see him on crutches at the end of Peacemaker Season 1. And it's kind of interesting because that means that his appearance in Shazam 2, which of course we know is not canon to the new DCU, but it's just kind of interesting to see that they might have been going a different direction back in the DCEU, because notice he's not even on crutches. That's really interesting. And then, of course, for the record, Harcourt appeared in Black Adam as well. So, as I've said before, the only parts of the old DCEU that are coming over to the DCU are the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. And I was asked on my previous breakdown, why are they not bringing over Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey? I don't know that Gunn has specifically answered that question, but I think the answer is generally that both of those two movies are very, very tied to the old continuity. So there's really just no way to bring them over into the new continuity. So, okay, I don't think that we got any new timeline hints to help place the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and Creature Commandos in the DCU timeline. Bummer, but hopefully by the end of Creature Commandos, we'll be able to figure it out. But there is an interesting little timeline hint in Weasel's backstory in the flashbacks. Because notice behind the kids there on the wall, it says Happy Vacation, Thanksgiving. Here on the chalkboard, give thanks, thank you everyone, Happy Thanksgiving, etc., etc. They're making it really clear this is happening over Thanksgiving break, which is why the school is empty. And I bring this up because when The Suicide Squad came out, there were some cool behind-the-scenes props, basically the criminal records for all the characters. But now we know this thing is not canon because, notice, Weasel's arrest date was in September. Now, 2013 could still be canon, the year, but the month, there's no way because it's now got to be November. So anyway, just a fun little timeline hint that they've given us about Weasel's backstory. All right, so now let's talk about some of the amazing Easter eggs in this episode. So we start with Elizabeth Bates, who is representing Weasel, and she is from the comics, but we are talking way, way, way back in the comics. I mean, 1940s, and her comic ended in the early 1950s. So, man, James Gunn is really flexing his comic knowledge with this deep cut. I absolutely love it. All right, so now let's talk about the vision that Circe gives of a potential future. Notice the princess has scratches on her face. That's kind of interesting. But on her right, yes, that is Gorilla Grodd. Very, very cool reference, and potentially a connection to the new Superman trailer. So if you've seen my video on that, I could not figure out what the newspaper that Clark Kent was holding said. And now we can finally read it because someone got a real nice high-res capture. And what's most important is the image looks like Gorilla Grodd. Now, maybe I'm coping, maybe I'm trying to draw connections that don't exist, but that would be so cool if Gorilla Grodd ends up showing up in the Superman movie, since he was, of course, referenced here in Creature Commandos. Just a nice little tie. I'm going to do another video on the Superman trailer, and I'll talk more in depth about how this connection might work. But very cool. Okay, so then we see that the princess has killed a lot of heroes. So we're going to take them from the left to the right and go through who each of them are. So, okay, the lefternmost section. And as always, huge thank you to Taff on the server. Taff identified Judo Master, Vigilante, someone, we don't know who. I mean, possibilities are Aquaman, maybe the Ted Cord Blue Beetle, who knows? Anyway, that one's very hard to tell. If you can identify it, let us know. And then, of course, Batman. That's obvious. All right, so then in the next section, we have Starfire, Green Lantern, the Guy Gardner version, Superman, obviously, Blue Beetle, the Jaime Reyes version, and Mr. Terrific. So what's really cool about this is Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific, and obviously Superman, all appear in the Superman movie. So our first images of these characters, they're dead. That's kind of crazy. All right, and then the final section here includes Supergirl, Hawkgirl, who also shows up in the Superman movie, Booster Gold, Wonder Woman, and Robin, either Tim or Damian. So yeah, that means all of these characters exist in the new DCU. I love how Gunn is not starting from scratch. He's basically saying this is a well-lived-in new universe. All right, so then obviously we have Peacemaker on the ground. Poor dude, that does not look good. And then we have Superman's cape blowing in the wind, and that is clearly an homage to the Death of Superman comic. And you gotta love James Gunn. Only he would be bold enough to put out a trailer for the new Superman movie on the same day when he shows Superman dead. So basically, Superman is starting and ending in the same day. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, so then we get another interesting Easter egg when Dr. MacPherson shows up to give her understanding of Circe's visions. In fact, she's really important because she says she is not able to imagine futures. So Dr. MacPherson is basically establishing what Circe's saying is happening is a potential future. Now, it is worth noting that she is a character from the comics. She actually teaches at the Gotham Academy, versus in this episode, they say that she's a tenured professor at Terrebonne University. But regardless, that is definitely a character from the comics, which is really cool. Then we get this really cool Winter Soldier Easter egg, because Rick Flag says, "Are you telling me the United States is now in the business of executing people for crimes they haven't committed yet?" And that is so funny coming from Frank Grillo, because you might remember he also had a role in The Winter Soldier, which dealt with Project Insight, which of course was, killing off threats before they did whatever nefarious deed they were going to do. Only in that movie, he was the one wanting to kill the threats before they did their evil deed, because of course he played Crossbones / Brock Rumlow. So I love it. That is a very, very clever Winter Soldier Easter egg. Okay. It is worth noting, Rick Flag is very suspicious of the professor, because if you look at the scenes for next week, he says we're going to find out the truth of this professor. So we need to keep an eye on that professor. That professor might be part of this nefarious plot. In fact, maybe one of the masterminds. Very interesting. Okay, now we're going to talk about the prison Easter eggs. So many cool Easter eggs here. I'm going to whip through these really fast. But, all right, so we have Fisherman, or at least the back of Fisherman's head. We have a werewolf who may or may not be an homage to Warren Griffin, who was a member of the Creature Commandos. You can see him on the right there. We have Egg Foo, one of the most politically incorrect characters ever invented. Yikes. We have maybe the Great White Shark. That dude is so hard to identify. If you have any thoughts on him, let me know. And then maybe this is Rubber Duck. We're going to get another shot of him in a minute. That's a long shot, but it'd be cool if it was Rubber Duck. And then we get Chemo. That dude is so creepy looking. And then, I'm really sorry, Bride, for this gratuitous shot here, but it's the only way to show you that over on the left there is Orca. So it's just for one frame that Orca shows up. But yeah, that is most definitely Orca. All right, so then a few more Easter eggs. So on the right there, that's obviously Congorilla. And on the left is Nosferatu. Love it. And then we get a ton more crazy ones here. Okay, so maybe this is a member of the Etrigan family. I mean, you can see the horns, he's gray, but who knows? It's really hard to tell what they were trying to go for there. If you have any thoughts, let me know. This, though, is definitely Kalis. The headpiece looks a little different there, but here's another shot where he was actually with the Creature Commandos, and there it looks more like the crazy headpiece he's got on there. And again, there's Warren Griffin. And hey, over on the far left, there's Nina. Yay, very cool. Here's a better shot of Rubber Duck. With the one eye, I don't think it's Rubber Duck. I think they just made something up. But hey, it's fun. We'll call it Rubber Duck. All right, so then one more fun one. First of all, the one on the far right, the green thing with all the eyes, no clue what that is. If you have any idea, let me know. But this one is clearly the Bug-Eyed Bandit, totally cheesy villain. So, man, so many cool Easter eggs. So I want to give a shout out to Taff, who once again meticulously spent hours going through and identifying all of these crazy villains, and a nice shout out to Alex, who also helped as well. The Discord is so much fun. We would love to have you join us. I'll mention a little bit more about it at the end of the video. Okay, so a couple other things I want to mention that I enjoyed about the episode. The fight between Flag and Frankenstein was epic, and I'm so glad they're teaming up for the next episode. That's going to be fun. And of course, Weasel's backstory. Oh my goodness. If that didn't crush you, I don't know what would. I was so mad at those cops. You've got to be kidding me, right? I mean, whose story was more of a heartbreaker? GI robots or Weasel's? They're both in the running, but maybe Weasel's is even worse because this ending, oh my goodness, when they see him dreaming and think he's probably just dreaming of chasing squirrels. Oh man. Wow. Heartbreaking. So yeah, loved Weasel's backstory. Loved this episode. I'm really enjoying this entire series. Let me know your thoughts. What's been your favorite episode so far? But this one's right up top for me, definitely. All right, so don't forget, December contest, be a subscriber, leave a comment, win a book or a steelbook, and there's that membership option in case you're interested in that. And of course, the Discord, as I mentioned. Here we are talking in the spoilers section, trying to identify some of these characters. It's just so much fun. So I will leave a pinned comment so you can join. There's over 1,900 members across the globe, conversations 24/7, and we would like you to be part of it. Also, if you don't mind, like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out more content, and we will all eagerly await the next episode of Creature Commandos.